Howdy everyone. Welcome to Inside Russia. This is Konstantin. This is daily update on what is happening in Russia, the current developments. Mods, could you please give me 5x5 if you can hear and see me well, or see me well, or can hear me well. Trying to figure out. Lorna is seeing and hearing me well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Not a usual stream today, not just a message, but there's a clarification, or actually two clarifications. Two clarifications right at the start before my message. And I hope you like my message too. First of all, this is a new setup. I've decided to try to not place microphone on myself, but kind of, put it on a little stand right here, so you do not hear me gulping my tea. See if it works. Is it any better? Anyway, let me know in the comments. But I just cannot go without tea. My throat gets dry, So, first of all, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. My message, first half of the stream, then conversing, comments, second part of the stream. Very important notice, very important message to you, right off, to all of you. There's been an imposter on the channel. Yesterday we noticed a fella, a user, acting as if it was me with my picture and my name and WhatsApp telephone number in the name also, asking for people's telephone numbers, leaving messages something like, oh, please contact me, I'll show you something, I'll tell you something, contact me via WhatsApp. Do not ever do that. I would never ask you to contact me via telephone number. I would never leave my telephone number out there in the public, because this is my safety. I would never do that, and you don't do that either. Please ignore if you see that someone is trying to contact you acting as me. Think twice, because I rarely contact users. Usually it's vice versa. Anyway, just be aware. Message number 2, and this is a clarification, not even a message. My yesterday's stream was misunderstood greatly. Okay, what happened was I want to deliver one message, and well, I thought I delivered the message, but most people, there's actually at least quite a few, they misunderstood the message completely. They understood the opposite from what I was trying to say, okay? And I want to clarify that. You see, what was happening yesterday, what I was trying to deliver was actually pretty simple. I was trying to say that there are sanctions being placed on Russia with different purposes, but they might work for some stuff, but the thing is, they will not break down Russian people to the point where they just drop dead. Okay, Russians have been very conditioned by hardships that they endured in the last 100 years. And you know what? This is where my message got misunderstood. That's not a good thing. My friends, that's a terrible thing. Because Russian people have gone through so much stuff. Their government has been, the Soviet government has put so much pressure, so much totalitarianism upon them, they're that they just have it in their blood. It's not a good thing. It's a terrible thing. But they are ready to go on, especially older generation. They still remember and they will come back to that state. They're already coming back. The younger generation not gonna do that. A lot of people have left already, and I think there will be many more that they will leave in the future. So they're not gonna take it because they have not been conditioned, the younger ones. But the older ones, oh yeah. And pretty much that was my decision, that the sanctions will not break Russian people. Somehow the message was misunderstood and people were commenting like, how can you say that? How can you put blame of Russian people, Russian government onto the West because West is bad as putting sanctions upon Russia? I never said that. First of all, I cannot give judgment to the sanctions because there's a law. Let's say if I say something like, oh, the sanctions are righteous, or or if I call for more sanctions against Russia, that's a criminal offense. There's a new law that was created in late February, okay? That would put me to jail. I would never say that, okay? I just do not give my any judgments to the sanctions. I'm merely telling you what I see with my own eyes, for better, for worse, okay? So I was not putting the sanctions of putting responsibility of Russian government, Russian people onto the West. I know very well why Russia is under sanctions. I know very well what was the reason, and I am merely telling you what I see. Okay, so my message was greatly misunderstood, and you know what? It's not your fault. It's mine, because first of all, it's not easy. It's not easy for me to do this streams every single day. For 1 hour, I speak, and it's always my opinions. My streams are very subjective to my opinions, to my experiences. Second, English is my second language. It's not easy. Try to sit in front of a camera and speak into a microphone for 1 hour in your native tongue. Okay, this isn't mine. Second language, okay, even the third actually. Second was German. I could speak a little bit, but then, and the third is I can't send you messages directly in many occasions because there's a current situation, there are circumstances, and I am so glad that many of you read between the lines. So that's why. But this is my fault. If you misunderstand something, it's not you, it's me. I failed to deliver, and it's happened before. This was my stream number 4 where I failed to deliver message loud and clear. And you know what, I apologize. What are you gonna do? So I hope that's clear. And thank you so much, everyone who came to my defense, so to speak, to my support in the messages, in the comments. Fantastic. That's just a great feeling to have you all who understand, who read between the lines, and the ones who have faith in me. Even if I say something that can be misunderstood, please have faith in me. Now to my main message, and that is the USSR the best. Oh boy. I hope this message will not be misunderstood. I hope it's pretty clear. A lot of people have actually voiced sadness that the USSR was, well, it wasn't destroyed. It fell apart. It fell apart, really. So a lot of people, especially lately, have been saying, well, that's a tragedy. And I think I know where this formation of public opinion is coming from. I'm not going to tell you, but I think you know as well as I do. Okay, you read between the lines very well. I know. But what I can understand that people, well, I won't go there. I can understand why people come up with this opinion. But What I can't understand is why people have such short memory. And I'm not talking about younger folks who don't remember the USSR. I'm talking about people who were born and raised in the USSR and had a life in the USSR. I was 16 years old when the USSR fell apart. March 1991. I still remember, but 16 years, my first 16 years I spent in that country. And I remember those memories so vividly, okay? Few were good and a lot were not so good. I don't understand why adults who had spent so much more time in the USSR, I don't understand why they forget. This is crazy. Anyway, in this stream, I wanted to give you my experiences and my memories of why that country was so terrible. Okay, I don't like USSR. I hate the country itself, or I hate it. I don't know. I hate. Hate is not a good feeling, but I'm honest. That's what I feel towards that country, and I'll explain you why. This feeling, very strong feeling, negative feeling, comes from certain experiences that I received growing up there. Now, where do I start? Where do I start? Why the USSR it has such a negative, left such a negative impact with me personally? You know, I will start from the very general idea, and then I will go into my experiences. You see, the USSR was a country that was built around the government. And the government were a few people, Communist Party members, the Politburo, the top bosses, who seized power. And they surrounded themselves with different forces that defended their power grab. The forces were police, national police, KGB, and the army. These three huge forces always fought with themselves. They were in a state of conflict all the time. And this is how Politburo, the big communist bosses, that's how they kept balance. There was a system of checks and balances in the USSR. That's why it was such a stable country for 70 years, okay? So, the country was built around the government. All laws, all ideology, all, everything in the country was built around the state. Everything was towards the state well-being, the state growth, the state development. Regular people, they were peons, ants. They were rightless. They were just there because, no one could get rid of them. That's pretty much it. They needed as a labor force. They were needed as a labor force. They were needed as small bolts and nuts of the system. There was no we are the people. There was I am the government. I am the state, not even the government. I am the state, okay? And this is how the United States was organized. Cost of human life was very, very low. No one really cared about human lives. No one cared about regular people. There was no such understanding as a taxpayer and voter. Seriously, there was no understanding. The first time I learned that being a voter and a taxpayer is very respectful thing, and the most important thing, when I came to the United States when I was 20. Okay, so this is how the USSR was built. Now, the countries in the West for the past, I don't know, hundreds of years, they've been built differently. They were built around people. We are the people, and the government is there to serve us, to make our lives better. If we don't like, we nominate some people to serve as government officials. We vote for them. We choose them from different, from different people. They compete for the positions, and if we don't like the job they do in the offices, then we get rid of them and we vote for new people. Okay, and the forces are there to protect us, the people, police, internal security services, or if they exist, like FBI type of thing, army. They, these things, these organizations are there to protect people. Okay. Now, of course, lately things have been deteriorating, or they could have gotten worse. But the core idea, I believe, is still the same in other countries, and it's still the same in Russia. Did you know that Russia does not have local police? Like, I was so shocked when I first came to the United States. I couldn't believe that there is no national police in the United States. I thought that it's impossible. I learned that every town, every city, every village hires own police. And police is funded by people who live in the local area, by the locals. And the police answers to local people. That's why the signs on police cars say to serve and protect. And it's understandable who the policemen serve and protect. For example, the policemen of Portland, Maine, they serve and protect people of Portland, Maine. And they have no right, no jurisdiction to go to Falmouth, Maine, that's a town next door, and do something there. They serve and protect people of Portland. And that goes for every single town or city in the United States. Now, there is state police for certain emergencies and things like that, but to use state police is a big deal, and it's not used on a regular basis. Okay, there are certainly special occasions only, and there are procedures. It's not easy to invoke state police to get involved into something. In Russia, it's totally different. In Russia, there is no local police. Only one police force controlled from Moscow. There's one police boss, Minister of Internal Affairs, controls everything. And the role of police, the goal of police, is to protect the government. Plain and simple. You see the difference? I hope you understand what I'm saying, because that's major, okay? And in Soviet Union, there was the same system. Police was there to protect the state, not the people, from the people. Okay? So that's the big difference. That's why, in my eyes, Soviet Union was not a great country, and I'd say the worst country. The only worse country than the USSR I saw was Iran, because Iran is pretty much same as the USSR, but instead of being based on ideology, it's based on religion. Okay, that's, in my eyes, even worse. Although Iranians have more freedoms on a personal level, like freedom to leave the country at will, okay, that's major. We didn't have that in the USSR. Now, why I think USSR was the worst, and what experiences did I have that made me think so? As a kid, as a teenager. Well, first of all, my grandmas and grandpas, they didn't like communists. Their ancestors were coming from wealthy families, and on my dad's side, the only person who survived read terror was my grandpa. All his brothers, father, they were just shot because for one simple reason. They owned some land, they were growing wheat, and they had a little bakery. Okay, they were considered rich. They had a few horses, things like that. They worked for very hard, and the commies, the red, I don't know, revolutionaries, whatever you call them, back in 1918, 1919, they came and they just shot him. My grandpa escaped. Same story on my mom's side, except for the people weren't shot. They were sent to Kamchatka, to the Far East, where they spent quite a few years. Then they returned. That's a long story. But to make long story short, my grandfathers and grandmothers didn't like Soviet power, like Soviet government. They didn't like commies whatsoever. And they were teaching me at the very early age. They weren't they weren't making me anti-communist, but they were just telling me the stories, and they were not favorable towards the communists. I remember coming to one of my grandfathers who, who was a hero of World War II. He had medals and honors and so forth. And then I asked him, Grandpa, why aren't you a member of a communist party? Because it was kind of prestigious back then. I was like 9 years old. He looked at me, he said, listen, I hate those guys. I said, why? Wait a second. This is the party, this is... At school I'm taught the party is our leader, our, ruler, our trendsetter, the goal setter, and so forth. The party shows us the way. That's a beacon of light. And he said, listen, if you saw what I saw during the war, how the party members were just... what they were doing to regular soldiers, then you wouldn't like them either. And he didn't say anything else. But my dad later on was telling me the horrors that my grandfather endured, and I totally understand them. So it didn't make me not liking communists, but every time I heard something at school, oh, the Communist Party is our leader, they know what they do, they know... I always thought of my grandparents, thinking, wait a second, there's a second opinion, okay? So they really they gave me fundamentals of not really liking the Communist Party in the USSR. Then, of course, there was, I first encountered economic situation. I remember that I clearly remember times after 1985, and from what I understand, that's when economic situation has gone down a great time, big time. When we started having food shortages, the very first shortage I remember was sugar. All of a sudden, sugar, they started selling sugar like 1 kilo, 2 pounds into one hands, like to one person. That was the limit. And everyone was like, what? Sugar? We have so much sugar. But then, after a couple years, it became norm. Okay, closer to 1987, we were used to it. Butter. We had ration cards for sugar, for butter, for cigarettes, for soap, for meat. Couldn't even get with the ration cards, actually, towards 1989, 1990. But there were a bunch of stuff. We were just running out of things, and especially food. And there was always deficit, like apparel, electronics. Russian goods were terrible quality. No one wanted them. Everyone wanted to buy imported. The electronics, from Sony, from Panasonic, from German manufacturers, Technics, things like that. And TV sets, tape recorders, and of course everyone wanted to get blue jeans. But the thing is, we could live without blue jeans, but we could not live without butter. And I, in my family, was responsible for doing food shopping, because my mom and dad worked from morning till night. So they would leave me some money, a ruble or a couple rubles, and I would go and start buying things by the list. I knew where to go and what times to go. I had to stand in line. Sometimes lines were short, sometimes longer. Um, it wasn't well, but back then I couldn't even understand like that other way could exist. People could live differently because it didn't occur. I had nothing to compare with. To get imported goods, apparel, outwear, just anything, you had to have connections. Because without connections, it's a bummer, You couldn't get anything. Connections, if you knew someone, they would make a call saying, oh, come to this place to see this guy, tell them that you're coming from this guy, and then they'll sell you things. That was the whole game of the Soviet Union, so to speak. And of course, it didn't really give increased love for the USSR. Then a thing that hugely impacted me was the movies, American movies. We started watching movies around 1988, and oh my God, and brand like a completely new world opened up for me. Just like regular movies, Star Wars, Back to the Future, all kinds of dramas. Uh, it's someone like opened the gates and the movies flooded into Russia. They even started showing some movies on Soviet TV. They started showing a basketball, NBA. I made a video about that not too long ago. It was just an eye opener. That's when we really started asking questions like, what the hell? Why people in other countries live differently, live much better than us? That was the first question. The second question is, why the heck they're lying to us? They're telling that abroad they really suffer. They're like close to hunger. And what we've seen with our own eyes is completely different, okay? And of course, McDonald's didn't help in 1990 when it opened, and all of a sudden everyone was just having such a good time at McDonald's. But anyway, that was number two thing about the USSR that I didn't like. I hated. Number three was life was really rough. Everything that was being done, no one really cared. For example, construction workers were building a tenement block. No one cared about the quality. Okay, they would build and they would leave, and we would be on our own to like patch the walls, to pick up what they left and things like that. Because there was no market. They had to do certain things, certain operations. They did them, and they would leave. And it was, the streets were dirty, renovations weren't done, there was no freshly painted sidewalks, everything was kind of just blah, bleak, because people were not motivated to do that. Not like in the free economy. If you want to do something, you pay. And then you make sure, if you pay, you make sure that the person who does that or a company that does that, they do a good job. Otherwise, you don't pay, right? That's competition. That's free market. We didn't have that in the USSR. And that was showing, okay? And especially when we had something to compare with, that was a huge, huge bummer. But that, you see, that what I've been talking about, that's just peanuts compared to another thing, that the worst thing about the USSR that I encountered for the last couple years of the country, and thank goodness, okay, that was the state involvement into people's lives. The state, like I said, the people were peons and ants in the USSR. But instead of just leaving them alone, the USSR, the state, reached out and grabbed everyone by the throat. Because the legal infrastructure was that way that we were not allowed to do pretty much anything until the state would allow us to do that. Okay? In order to move to a different city, we would have to go and ask for permission. In order to, we couldn't sell our apartment or buy apartment, okay? Granted, the apartments were given to us by the state, but we could not do anything with them. We could only exchange. And in order to do that, we had to file for permission from the state. We could not choose the jobs freely because we would get high education for free, but it was not really free because as a return, the state would tell us where we needed to go and work for a few years as young specialists. Okay, so there was a trade-off, so to speak, the social contract, and we were not free to choose the locations. We would go as they would assign us to go. We weren't free to leave the country. There was basically there was no way we could leave unless state had something to do with us, or we would go on a business trip in interest of the state, or we would go on vacation to a country that was part of the Eastern Bloc and things like that. Us just getting up and going, no way. Okay. Freedoms non-existent. Basically, you had to concur with the party line on everything, and if you didn't, you would get in trouble. But the worst part in the USSR was, in my eyes, was Sexote, secret agents of KGB, the Reds, regular people who you lived right next door to, teachers, colleagues, sometimes friends of family, sometimes friends, sometimes family, people who lived next door, people who you were buying something from. They were secretly informing KGB of what you would do. You did. That was the worst thing. That was hands down the worst thing, absolutely. And people got to become secret agents by two ways. First way is, in order to achieve anything in the USSR, like for example, to get a good job or to get promoted or to, get an award or something like that, you needed to, usually KGB would come out and make you an offer. You couldn't refuse. You could, but if you refused, you'd be done. They would get they would get you fired from your job. You would not go up on a career ladder. Perhaps, you would be fired one way or another. Your career would be canceled, things like that. Your life would just be destroyed. The only jobs would be available to you were like low-paying, very unrespected jobs, like janitors, cleaners, so forth. So it was a choice of people. And the second way is when some people broke the law, and it was not difficult to do in the USSR. The KGB would come in and say, hey, we can give you time, or we can let you go. But if we let you go, you have to work for us. Sometimes you have to give us reports on what you saw, when you heard around you, and stuff like that, And this is how people would become secret agents. I would say not secret agents, but informants. Informers of KGB. I cannot imagine living in a society where you cannot speak freely with your friends, with your neighbors, with people at the spa salons who are listening to you all the time, at the stores, things like that. Although I start hearing this music faintly, but start hearing because I myself bite my tongue quite a few times recently. I have bitten it, thinking, perhaps they could rat me out, things like that. So I hate that. That was number one worst thing in the USSR, hands down. And, it's not just me. All of us, we lived in that country, all of us. And I don't understand how people forgot about the horrors of that country so easily, so quickly. People who want to go back, who want to return the USSR to return, and I've heard that opinion quite a few times lately. How can they do that? How could they forget what was happening back then? How can they forget how that country was so terrible? Why, in their sanity, they want that country to come back? Sometimes they say, well, you know what, the USSR was strong and everyone respected us. They're making a huge mistake because we were not respected in the USSR. We were feared. Same as we're feared right now. Respect and fear is completely different emotions, and it's great to be respected, but it's not so good to be feared, okay? And the USSR was feared. I don't want to go back to being feared by all people in the world. I want to be loved. I want to be respected. I want to be befriended, but not feared. I don't want to go back to the USSR. I was talking, and she said, well, just to be fair, tell of the good things that were in the USSR. And there were some. There were some. So to be fair, what I liked about the country was, well, first of all, I was young. My youth. It has nothing to do with the country, it just happened to be in the USSR. Second, school. I think that the USSR had the best educational system in the world, hands down. The quality of school, the quality of different knowledge, the quality of education we received was highest level. We incredibly high level of fundamental science, mathematics, physics, chemistry, astronomy. I learned more on these subjects in my high school in the USSR than later I learned in American college, believe it or not. So I love the educational system. The stuff that we received back then was incredible. Then I loved the fact that people had access to virtually free medical care. And the medical care was high quality, somewhat. The doctors were very knowledgeable. There was very little tech in medicine, but the doctors were great. And medicine was available to anyone easily. No, even if in the remote villages, people got the same access to medicine as in large cities. Free, again. I loved the fact that the kids had so many opportunities to do sports, leisurely and professionally. They were sections. We used to call them sections. The clubs, sport clubs. You just would go and sign basically, and that's it. They were free. Anything you wanted to. The sport system in Soviet Union was absolutely incredible. People were decent, at least the people from my circle of conversing, Life was good. The country was terrible. The state was terrible. Okay. Anyway, this has been my message today. It's been a little longer than I expected, but hey, it's a pretty emotional topic for me. Let me know in the comments what you think. And, I forgot. One thing I hated about the USSR is that they didn't consider us as individuals. They didn't care about our desires, our wishes, but instead they were always pushing us. We have to sacrifice ourselves, our interests, for the state, for the group, for the folks, for the people. Us individually, we didn't matter. The people collectively, that's what mattered. We had to make our country prideful, be proud of us. And then we had to do as our state, our country tells us to do. That's how to make it prideful. That I just hated. It wasn't about me. It was about the state. Not what I wanted to do. It was what state wanted me to do. Turning on the comments. Let me know how this thing with the mic is working out. I hope well. I hope better than usual. Reese Gray is #1 today. #1 in the stream, #1 in the super chat. Reese, you are the double champion today. Martin P, Mommy Lorna, Robert, Harry Podnan is here. Harry, great to see you. Bob S. Yarn Prepper, not seen, but Bruce, Dirk, Golden Griffin, Tim, Susan, Zdenek, Sylvia, the usual suspects. The usual suspects. Welcome. Thank you for supporting me in the comments, in the community post. That was really touching. Thank you so much. New mic is great. Tell me how great and why this is great. Can you hear better? Less noise, or what's so great about it? Need feedback. Reese Gray, first super chat. Hello from Canada, Mr. Popular. I'm glad you're confused as to why people want the USSR back. Before you said that, I thought must be missing something. Would it collapse again or persist indefinitely? Nothing persists indefinitely. It would collapse. The Soviet Union collapsed because the foundation was rotten. The foundation was only held by force from KGB, from the army, from police. As soon as the force got weakened, it fell apart. Vice versa, the United States, Great Britain, European countries, they stand on different kind of foundation. That's why they're still standing strong, and nothing is holding them apart, like together. That's the difference. Reese, I am a little confused about your message. Before you said that, I thought I must be missing something. You or me? Anyway, I'm confused about this message. Snipers up. This message is dangerous. Well, Robert, I don't think this message is that dangerous, because I'm talking about the country that was before and my attitude to that country. I don't find it that dangerous. Dangerous is to speak about the events that are happening right now, why they're happening, where they're happening, exactly what is happening. That's playing with fire. Frank in Texas, the Rooster, Mama Two Boys, Kawaii from Romania. Mic is better than clip-on one. Well, Bob, that's the same microphone. It's just a different setup. I put it inside of this holder right here, and instead of just clipping on here, that's I tried something different. IKDA, hi from Germany. Older people forget because they lived the changes in real. I lived the complete history of the events and remember like yesterday this question of the right timing in life. Mike 5. I'm sorry. I'm a little confused by the question. Mike is fine. Carter from Texas, thank you so much. Amir, thank you. Ernie. Karina, where did your grandfather serve? World War II. I don't remember what part he served, but he was the last person one of the last people, I guess, who liberated Crimea. He was in artillery, and his cannon shot down and sank German vessel, the last vessel that was leaving Sevastopol. And then the Russian troops were advancing, and my grandfather was among the first ones, and he saw the vessel leaving, and they put up the cannon, and they shot it down, and they sank it. So both my grandfathers served in World War II. One of them had a medal for Berlin, Battle of Berlin, so he came as far as Berlin. The Showman, hello from London. Hello from Ohio, Tonya, TJ, Papa Bear, Todd, hi there. Ludmila, Richard Jones. How many people feel like you do about the former USSR? Richard, not all want the old USSR back. Not all. Quite a few people have same opinion as I do. I cannot tell you about how many, but there's a good share of the Russians who don't like that country back. Question, do you watch 1420 on YouTube? Sometimes I do. Yes, great channel. Kim says the reason why I think there's a nostalgia for the USSR is because the past is always colored by the rosy-colored glasses. Yes, and there's something else. I actually think that I've gotten down to the very bottom of this. Why many Russians right now are wanting the USSR back. And I'm making a video, not a stream, but a standalone video about that. Not just me, but I've listened to quite a few psychologists, doctors, and what they're saying makes so much sense. So I'm combining what I heard with my understanding. I'm going to present you my theory. Golden Griffon, Stephen, best wishes from Glasgow, Scotland. Welcome, thank you so much. Sound ID perfect. Thank you, Susan. Stephen Lindholm, I agree with your message today, reading between the lines. Less drink sound. Okay, good. We finally found a solution. It only took me 104 streams to figure it out. I'm sorry I didn't do it sooner than that, I also want to buy a different mic for live streams, but we'll see. Joan of Arc is here. Hello. Are you from France? Fretness, Constantine, you're definitely loved and respected by us. Thank you so much. Thank you. It shows. The amount of support I received in the comments in the community post was overwhelming. And thank you so much for that. That's what really is all about for me, It's number one. I don't feel alone in the world, because sometimes without YouTube, sometimes I do. I feel alone in the message. I feel alone in my feelings. But when I go online, there are so many people who resonate with me, who agree with me, who find my opinions close to theirs is amazing. That's uplifting. Less background noise. Holy cow. How is this possible? Same mic, huh? Miracle. Should have done that a long time ago. Hello all, says Lawrence Mitchell. Audio is crisp. That's good, Scott. Scott Nesbitt, the usual suspect. Dirk approves the sound, says sounds normal to me. Well, I tell you what, if a German guy approves the sound must be really, really good and crisp. Thank you, Dirk. James, I follow 1420. Good stuff. Less noises of drinking your tea. Now I can drink constantly. How about that? New sponsor of the channel. Thank you so much. You know, that's my new chair. It's already broken. A very interesting conversation I had recently. This is so funny. With one of the YouTube personalities, right? One of the Russian YouTubers called me up. Not Zangief, another guy. And he said, listen, why do you keep doing the live streams? I said, what do you mean? I send a message. I have so many messages I'd like to share. I think it's important for me and for the people to hear them. I show, and I tell them, I show that what's going on in Russia. He goes, but you stopped getting super chats. I said, so? He goes, well, why do you need the streams for then? Just, I started laughing. It's like, are you crazy? That was so funny. you know. Look, I will not stop doing live streams, even if I don't get any super chats, even if I have to pay a little bit to do the live streams, because they're so, I feel they're so important for me, and I really feel they're important to you as well, Thanks for the sponsorship. Fiona, welcome to Deep Inside Russia. You are an Inside Russia, right? Excellent. Volume is consistent. That's something interesting to know. Sounds clear. I like the mic. Well, little by little, I get the technical level of the streams, the picture, the sound better. So hopefully soon will be really good. Duke Fishing, have you seen the latest car sales numbers in Russia for May? Big changes. Oh, yes, I have. Another change I would like to do is, first of all, mods, 5 more minutes to the stream, if you can, please, due to my message was much longer today. Reese Gray, who said the super chats had stopped. No one said that. It's just, I'm saying if they stop, okay, if I don't get anything out of live streams, you can count on me showing up at 11 p.m. Moscow time every single day, no matter what. That's what I meant. Reese, thank you so much for another super chat. Another change I'd like to introduce is discussing this today. I would like to do an extra video once a week, and I'm gonna call it something like Russian Report or Russia's Digest or something like that. Most interesting news from the previous week in a very short format. For example, incredible news came out yesterday. Duke Fishing, thank you very much. Have you seen the latest car news on car sales in May? That would be a fantastic news. I'm pretty sure that none of you, or very few of you, actually know what's going on. 84% drop from last May. 84%. And last May wasn't the best because people were coming out of COVID. We had COVID for a year and a half. People weren't making money and the car sales were dropping. Last May was terrible for car sales, new car sales here in Russia. But this May, 84% drop. There are a few clues that say a lot about the economy's current state. One of those clues is new car sales, then new apartment or houses sales. Okay, so 84% drop. Disaster. Thanks for the great question. This kind of questions I would like to answer and to bring it to your attention like once a week, probably on Saturday. Finally, the T sound is absent. Good. Aren't you gonna miss that? No, just kidding. Bob S is asking not to put streams and premieres back to back. Why? I kind of like that. Interesting. Some people try to bite me with their hateful comments. That's okay, I don't care. No, I have not ordered my new car yet. Sippako. Japanese or Finnish? I'm sorry. What are Rostov youth like? Similar as St. Petersburg and Moscow? Youth is youth everywhere. I think they're pretty similar. The teenagers, young adults, pretty similar here in Rostov. Rostov has unique culture, in terms of people themselves, and I think that's what's different from St. Petersburg, Moscow. But everything else is pretty much same. Kim, the good news in Russia is that I believe there will be no food shortages because of the independent farms, etc. This food shortage is actually incredibly strange and incredibly disturbing topic. I don't understand why would there be food shortages anywhere. I understand what's going on in Ukraine. Just you know, 1 hour ago, I read the news in the official Russian media that Russian government officials are blaming the Western whoever, the West, the collective West, for the growing crisis because the West is not allowing to sell Ukrainian wheat. Okay? I don't understand why Russia would sell Ukrainian wheat. Okay? I think that Ukrainians that are outside of Russian influence, I think they're allowed to do anything they want to. They can sell wheat to Poland. But anyway, I don't understand where this wheat crisis is growing from. Russia and Ukraine are not the only countries that they produce and supply wheat. Canada, Australia are huge wheat producers. Then besides wheat, there's so much stuff. Argentina alone can feed the entire world. There is so much fertile land in Argentina. Where does this idea of this growing hunger or growing agricultural crisis going on? I don't understand. I still don't believe that people will starve because the supply of grains from Ukraine and Russia will stop. I think that Australians and Americans will gladly expand their markets. They will take the market shares of the Russians and the Ukrainians. No? $5 super chat from Karen and Buzz in Texas. Those of us who know you and have heard of your heart knew that yesterday's stream was about. Thank you, Karen and Buzz. I saw your message. I saw your comment. Thank you very much. The negative ones don't know your heart. By the way, no tea noise. Then let me sip a tea once more. Yes. Something good about this stream, at least. Thank you so much for the message, and thank you for super chat. Can you make a video with your family more? Sipakko. I can, but I really don't feel like it's a good time because I make different kinds of videos now, you know. Fiona, I was already sponsored, but it didn't update for some reason. Sorted now. Fiona, there's something going on so bad, you know, with YouTube. People getting banned and they're not banned by me. I try to unban them. I don't find them in the banned list. Anyway, if any one of you knows system of banning people, unbanning them, like of YouTube, well, please contact me via email. Explain me what's going on. Donna Olson is really upset. I'm upset that she cannot comment anything here, and I can't figure out why. I have about 15 people, more than a dozen, asking me the same question. They cannot comment. They said they cannot send super chat. They're not visible in this chat, you know, stuff like that. So if you know, well, please contact me. Let's figure this thing out. The mods are indeed the best. Michael Reed, keep up the good work. Thank you. And you please keep up coming to the streams and watch the videos and liking videos if you like what I say. Message too long. Agreed. Agreed with who? Volume was fabulous. Excellent. The extension is okay here. Bob, I kind of traded 5 more minutes. Robert, I traded 5 more minutes, so they're not up yet. Try a VPN maybe. Why do I try VPN? I have access to my YouTube studio and everything. I don't need to try VPN. Richard, how do we contact you outside of chatting? Go to About section. You'll find my email address there, but you have to go on your computer, on laptop or desktop. Reese, Donna Olson is not nice. She's great, okay? And somehow she's not there because she cannot be here. YouTube is blocking her. I don't understand why. Finland, not Japan. I'm so sorry. Thank you. Thank you so much. Sipako. It's more than 5 minutes. It's 5 minutes now. So there you go. The last one. Queen died. Try making Donna Olson a mod and break the ban. But I want to find out where is the ban? Why did she get banned? Like by who? Why can't I see her in the banned users? You know, things like that. You know. Anyway, my friends, thanks for coming today. Thanks for listening to the message. Thank you for kind of couple of messages, and the main one was pretty long. Okay, I know. I hope you found it interesting. Thank you so much, and I would like to invite you to pray as usual. We are praying for peace, for Ukraine, for Russia, for for America, Canada, Finland, Sweden, the new alliance countries. I just want to pray for stop of the bloodshed and for everything just being peaceful. Okay, no more people dying. Dear God, thank you so much for giving us this day, this good day. Thanks for putting food on our tables. Thank you for putting roofs about our heads. Thank you for surrounding us with loved ones, family, friends, colleagues, good people. Thank you. Please help stop bloodshed in Ukraine. Help every single person who has been affected. Give every single person strength. Give means. Give everything they need to go through this and to survive. Please send every single person in Ukraine an angel to keep that person from harm's way. Please influence, touch people who make decisions. Give them common sense, give them love, give them compassion, mercy. Open their eyes so they stop the bloodshed as soon as they can. Please give us wisdom to raise our children so that when they grow up, they make this world a better one, where there's no one fights, but everyone loves one another, each other. Please help everyone who's helping people in need, opening doors of their houses, homes, giving food to people who need food, who are hungry, giving them shelter, help the Europeans who welcome Ukrainians in their homes, help those who help Ukrainians different ways, money, prayers, good wishes, coordinating events. Please help them. Please help everyone who is in this chat praying right now and or listening or watching us praying. Help them to answer prayers of these people and make their wishes come true. I would like to ask you to reach out and touch every single person who's in need of healing today. Physical healing, mental healing, psychological healing. Please show your glory. Reach out your hand, touch them, and give them much needed healing. I would like to mention a few people. They asked me their names to be mentioned in the prayers, and some of them they didn't ask me, I just put them because I felt in my heart that they needed to be on the list. They are Shay, Rafaela, Anna, William, Elena, Natasha, Jake, Michael, Oля, Dasha, Sky, Bonnie, Sebastian, Brantley, Maverick, Rebecca, Melissa, Buzz, Anne-Mary, Jean-Paul, Paula, Janine, Michael, Marlene, Mikhail's family, Dimitrius, Kieran, Maddie, Sharon, Narnian Lady, Susan S., Sabrina Fell, Susan, Fiona, Moby One, Stephen Lindholm, Alan Townsend, Chirper, Kim McKay, and Priscilla. Thank you so much, dear God. Thank you, Amen. And thank you everyone for bearing with me, for hearing my message, for coming and staying here a little longer than usual today. 11 minutes. Thank you so much. Thank you, moderators, and I will see you all tomorrow. Let's have a great day today. Love you. You're awesome and you rock. Now I have to go and physically turn off the stream.